Okay, so change of plan. Um, I'm not gonna get into too much detail as far as what I'm gonna do for money, you know what I mean? But I've decided that I only get one life to live, so I'm gonna pursue the things I really want to do. And I went and got this book, The Artist's Way. I've seen a couple of YouTubers on here that I didn't even know they had like an art life. They're just kind of like self-improvement YouTubers. Mentioned this book and a couple of actual artists. I'm not saying the YouTubers that do YouTube for a living are not artists, but I just wasn't aware that they had like artistic urges. But there are a couple of artists that just happen to have YouTube channels that have also mentioned this book, and I'm like, well, I have to read it. And what's interesting about this is after consuming so much self-help, self-development type content, books, whatever, a lot of the stuff that people talk about, it's in here. A lot of it is very new agey, so if you're not into that, this might not be for you. It might not resonate with you, or if you don't believe in a higher power at all, this might be a tough read. I'm not gonna lie. But I myself, I'm a little agnostic about my beliefs. I have a little bit of faith that there might be a higher power, but overall, I'm not the most religious person. I hate the cliche, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, but that's technically where I am right now. So, this book, there's two real main kind of exercises that are in this book, and that is the the morning pages, which is essentially a brain dump. Like, people on here talk about brain dumps a lot, and that's what this is. This book came way before all the self-help YouTubers that reference brain dumps. I don't know if this is originally where brain dumps even come from. I have to go and do the research on that. But, sitting down, writing 3 pages of just whatever comes to mind. And if you can't think of anything, just write, I can't think of anything, I can't think of anything, I can't think of anything until, the wheels start turning. And if you can't think of anything, you just have to write that over and over again until the 3 pages are up. Oh, excuse me. I have not had like the most difficult time or anything writing out 3 pages, despite not really being a journaler. I'm not a journaler. I was never able to really make a habit out of it. I kind of would be really sporadic about it. Like I'd do it one week and then not another, do it a couple of days in a row and just throw the journal off to the side. But this, you have to do it every day, and it's a 12-week program. So every morning, 3 pages, and then one of the exercises within the book, right straight after that. The second thing that the Artist's Way consists of is, during this 12-week journey, you have to take yourself out on an artist date once a week. And it doesn't have to be long, like 2 hours, whatever, because, a lot of us have kids and families and jobs and lives. So, on our off time, we probably want to spend time with friends and family, but it's really important that you take the time to yourself, so that it doesn't say in here why, but in my opinion, it's so that you don't have any kind of like outside influences kind of interrupting your own subconscious. You know what I mean? I watched another channel where they're like, I just couldn't go out and do it on my own. And I think that's fine for people that maybe like suffer with like extreme anxiety or whatever. But I think if you're I don't want to say neurotypical. I think if a lot of whatever you have going on is under control for the most part, and you don't struggle with like going out on your own, I think it's really important to do the dates on your own. I would do that anyway. You know, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids, so for me it's really important to have alone time. I think people without kids kind of struggle with being completely alone at times. At least I've seen that with like my friend groups. Because they go home to their apartment, or they're living with family or whatever, and they get to be alone in their space for most of the time. Whereas for me, I don't really have a personal space, so this is a godsend for me in some ways. It just gives me an excuse to kind of get out of the house and do something fun. And it doesn't have to be anything expensive. It could be like a hike or a walk, going to a coffee shop, and just like, if there's those artsy fartsy shops that have like art on the wall, looking at the wall art. One of the suggestions in here is even going to, this is an old book. So it basically mentions something like, hold on, let me look for the page. So one of the suggestions, take $5 and go to your local Five and Dime. Who the hell has ever heard of a Five and Dime? So that's, I guess, the equivalent now of like a dollar store, which those don't really exist anymore either. Hello, inflation. But it says to go to your local Five and Dime and basically like just get like $10 worth of knickknacks and just kind of make a poster board or like make a piece of art or something like that. That's one of the suggestions for your date. Now, I'm not really creative in that way of like sitting down and doing arts and crafts. For me, my art form has always been acting, singing. I'm not the best dancer in the world, so I am not even comfortable putting dancing in there, but it's definitely something I like to do, so I might go take a dance class or something like that at one point. I'm trying to do stuff that's not super expensive, so I think a lot of it's just going to consist of like walking, and there's a couple of museums that are in this area that are pretty affordable. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this journey, and upon doing a couple of the exercises, because it's been a few days, yeah, acting, yeah, singing, yeah, dancing, but I never really pursued writing, like writing scenes, writing plays, writing movies. I remember when I was briefly in college for a while before dropping out, I took a couple of classes that were theater classes and writing classes, and my teachers said to me, why don't you consider writing? Your scenes are pretty good. Like, I think if you really honed in on this craft, you could really make a career out of this. And at the time, I was super into acting, like super. So them saying that to me, and that was my artist block. That was my block. Because when they said that to me, what I heard was, you're not that good at acting. You should pursue something else. In my dumb 20-year-old brain, that's what I heard. Which now, looking back in retrospect, I think that they just thought I was talented in writing and that I should pursue writing. So big regret. But we can't turn back the clock. That's one of the things the book talks about too, is kind of like your inner critic. There's this exercise that you do where they give a list of affirmations, and you can pick an affirmation of your own, but they have a list in case like, you don't know any. And you write it out 10 times on a sheet of paper. And whenever something negative pops up, like, oh, I'm abundant in my art. I'm just giving an example. It's like, and something comes up like, no, I'm not abundant, I'm broke. Then you have to write that out, see where that comes from. Was that something someone said to you, or was it an experience? And you kind of have to like go through and resolve that, so to speak. And while I was doing one of those exercises, I kind of realized like how self-conscious I was about just like mild criticisms, you know? I won't go into the details. I won't bore you with the details, but like long story short, I think I was afraid of pursuing writing because I thought I wasn't good at it. I think I showed one of my works to someone who was like more of an advanced writer, and they were like, this is okay. And then I was like, okay, well, I gotta put that to the side now, because it's just okay. And it was like one of my first like scenes that I wrote. There was no reason for me to to just like completely up and quit. But that was just my personality type for a long time. If I wasn't good at something, I just wouldn't do it, you know? And acting is something I've been doing since I was a kid. So for someone to tell me that I should pursue this other thing, I was just taking it really personal. And all that to say, I think I want to be like a playwright or a screenplay writer, because I have all these ideas for plays and movies, and I've never really gotten it down on paper because in my dumb brain, I thought that the ideas sounded stupid, trite. The ideas were juvenile, you know? And I don't think I should think that way anymore. As you can tell, I'm just blurting away because this is like, the arts is something I'm actually kind of passionate about. And I've only been doing this for a couple of days, and the people around me are already like, I can see like this twinkle in your eye now. There's just this glow about you that I haven't seen in a long time. And that makes me really sad because I could have just been doing this, you know? I feel like I've wasted so much time, but, you know, it's not a waste of time. I was like nurturing my kids, making sure that they were good to go for when they were school age, and they're both school age now, so I'm gonna have a lot of free time on my hands to kind of really do this, you know? Anyway, that's it. That's my check-in for today. Much love, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.